Cowboys Weekend was brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world, SWBC Employee Benefits and PEO Services, and by Forest Park Medical Center, your destination to better health.
Well, this looks like it could be a possible playoff preview. Cowboys versus Cardinals. Welcome back here to Cowboys Weekend, presented by Forest Park Medical Center, joined by the Nate Newton, Lindsay Cash. I am Chase Williams. Nate, if you look at these two teams, they're arguably the two best in the NFC right now. What does it boil down to?
It boils down to matchups, and I'm not talking about player matchups. I'm talking about coaches. I'm talking about Todd Bowles versus Scott Linehan. I'm talking about Rod Marinelli versus Bruce Arians. And these are going to be some matchups because the Cowboys got to deal with last week blitzes, fixing those, then dealing with Todd Bowles and his blitzes because they blitz 47% of the time, and they will blitz on versus the run and the pass.
I want to talk about Bruce Arians a little bit. You just brought him up. He's done a lot with the little this year. He's had 3 quarterbacks, kind of just like the Redskins have gone through, but yet they have 6 wins. So how impressed are you with what he's been able to do?
You know, Lindsay, this guy was with the Colts, and he helped the young quarterback there, Andrew Luck. And he comes here and he sees, after 20 years of being an assistant, I mean, just a professional assistant, he knows how to translate to his players. He picked the right coaches who can translate and understand today's players, and he's got them playing at a very high level. This is going to be a great matchup.
All right, guys, stay with me. When you go to the petting zoo, you worry about the little chickens and the little bunnies. You don't want to hurt them at all, and I'm concerned about them when I go. I'm also concerned about Tony Romo. Everyone's concerned about his back. Against the Redskins in overtime, he was pounded all game. 5 sacks against them. How come we didn't go back to running the ball? And is that the best option here today against the Cardinals? You
know, you have to run. The Cardinals are third in the league versus the run, giving up 77 yards. The Eagles had success last week with right at 100 or over 100 yards. They have to run the ball in the right situations. This is a game when you have a quarterback that is limping like that, you have to play the percentages. When you get a ball kicked inside the 20, punted inside the 20, you play the percentages. What we do, we pass here, we run here. You play the percentages until you get into the middle of the field, and then you cut loose. And the percentages say run the ball. Find a way to run the ball, quick play action pass, get it out of his hands, because you're going to have to nurse Tony through this game if he plays. Me personally, you know, I wouldn't have brought him back in the game, so I wouldn't even be having this discussion because I would have knew by Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday whether he could play or not.
Let's go to the other side of the ball. Rod Marinelli's defense. Orlando Scandrick, after the game last week, said, we just lost on one-on-one matchups, and that's really what we pride ourselves on. We saw Rolando McClain miss some tackles in the backfield. Barry Church missed a few open field tackles. That cannot happen today. Why did that happen?
That happened because guys were just coming up looking for the big hit and not bringing guys down. Rod Marinelli teaches guys, and we've seen this in practice, where he want all 11 guys on the ball. They do pursuit drills. They all stripping and running and trying to get the ball. And these guys just lost that for a little bit. You know, they lost that little bit of edge, you know, and took for granted that they big bang hit was going to knock them down, and it did not work.
Being around Valley Ranch all this week, it's always a circus around here. It's a madhouse right now because the Cowboys are relevant once again. Is this game a must-win to settle everything down and regain that confidence, just to get back in the win column so the sky's not falling, you know, after just one loss?
You know what, in my theory of between 7 and 12, if you can come out 3-2, you know, and do this thing at the 12th game, I think you'll be all right. Don't panic. This is the grind time of the season. This is where you make your hay. So if these guys can just get a couple of wins under their belt, come out of this thing maybe with 9 wins, maybe even 10, who cares?
Before we get out of here, what's your gut say? Do we see Tony today?
We know. Oh, I thought you were going to ask if the Cowboys were going to win. I was going to say, we know Nate says Cowboys are going to win.
But you know what? I wouldn't play Tony. I just wouldn't, because you have to be ready to play a team like the Cardinals. They're going to bring everything in the kitchen sink. It's going to be like coming out of a helicopter. They're going to be blitzing everywhere.
Tony, to play or not to play, we do know this. The Cowboys will play at noon against the Cardinals at AT&T Stadium. For Nate Newton, Lindsay Cash, I'm Chase Williams. We'll see you next week right here on Cowboys Weekend, presented by Forest Park Medical Center.